How is he going negotiating? His party only holds a small fraction of legislative seats, and he is facing an emboldened opposition.
He is, yes. So it's in some of his powers that he had through a law from a year or so ago, that's come to an end. So it might be a little more difficult to keep up with his agenda. It's possible, on the other hand, that as people grow to realize, hey, Milei's policies haven't seem to be working out, maybe he'll get some more momentum. It's a little hard to tell right now. Say in the next 12 months, will he be able to be as productive as he was in the first year of his administration?
He faces re-election in December 2027. Will he run again?
I don't know. That's beyond me.
Do you think he'd win?
Well, I think he's made a lot of progress, and things could change in the next couple of years. I think he's turned things around considerably, and I think really getting inflation under control is really that's one of the biggest problems in Argentina. He's done such an excellent job with that so far. Inflation is really a government policy choice. It's a hard policy choice to get under control once you're used to high inflation. Getting the economy to grow well, not for unemployment to be low, that's not really the government's job. It's really private markets. That's their job, but they can do that best when they're unencumbered. And Milei's gotten rid of a lot of bad regulations that are making it difficult to do business. I think between those two things, there's a lot of reason for people to, as time goes on, realize, oh, a lot of these policies seem to be working out. So it's very possible that come re-election time, people might say, actually, yeah, let's keep this going.
He recently announced a reduction in export taxes on poultry and beef and corn, which was requested by Argentina's agricultural sector. Let's just take a listen.
Para tener un orden de magnitudes, esto redunda en una reducción de retenciones de las alícuotas para las cadenas de granos del 20% y una reducción de retenciones en la cadena de ganado y carnes del 26%, que será permanente. Estas reducciones son permanentes y no tendrán vuelta atrás mientras que yo esté en el gobierno. Pero es muy importante tener presente que todo esto es posible únicamente gracias al superávit fiscal que hemos conseguido, al cual cuidamos como agua en el desierto ante los embates sistemáticos de la casta política.
So he says this results in a 20% reduction in export tax rates for grain supply chains and a 26% reduction in export taxes for livestock and meat supply chains. And of course, he says, long live freedom, long live freedom. But what difference will this make?
I think it should be a boon to the agricultural industry, the agriculture industry in Argentina. Agricultural products are big exports from Argentina. And like pointed out, he's only able to do this because of the fiscal surplus his government has been running. Because they've embraced fiscal conservatism, fiscal rectitude, they have more room to cut taxes in other areas. And this is an example of a tax that wasn't so good for the economy. It was a tax that favored government. The government liked it, brought in revenue, but agricultural exporters didn't like that. So, and again, I think this is the kind of tax cut that would be very good for the Argentine economy, make it more competitive internationally.
Javier Milei was one of the first leaders to meet Donald Trump in person after Trump's election victory in November last year. Now the US is lifting visa restrictions, which will allow citizens from Argentina to travel to the US for tourism or business without having to apply for a visa in advance. What do you make of that, and how would you assess his relationship with Donald Trump at the moment? You know, it seems to be pretty strong.
Yeah, I think ease of travel for tourism or business, I think that's a good thing. I think for both countries, it goes both ways. I think greater certainty is good. Making business easier is good for the economies of both countries. I don't know if it makes a huge dent statistically for boosting GDP or output or any other metric in those countries, but I think it's a good sign of friendliness between the countries. And I think Javier Milei and Donald Trump they're both outsiders who are shaking things up in their respective countries.
Absolutely, they are. But it's interesting, Milei has had, I suppose, an effect on some world leaders. Conservative Kemi Badenoch says that she wants to be Britain's Javier Milei. Let's take a look.
You told the national newspaper this week that your model for economic success is the Argentine leader Javier Milei, who famously said he'd take a chainsaw to public spending and then cut it by 30% inside a year. Have you got a chainsaw?
We need to live within our means, Trevor. We've been having a long debate about welfare.
I know that. Are you going to bring out your chainsaw?
No, I wouldn't literally use a chainsaw. But it was a very, very visual story that he told about making sure that Argentina lived within its means. We're a different country. We have a different setup. But we need to start thinking about the next generation. We are borrowing our children's money to pay for today, to pay for welfare. We're paying £100 billion on debt interest. That's just not fair.
OK, it's very disappointing. I like a leader who knows power tools.
You like to get a chainsaw?
I like power tools.
As you say, Milei, Donald Trump, they are outsiders shaking things up. But do you think we are going to see more world leaders, I suppose, admire Milei and the results that he's been able to show for what he's done to Argentina, and then take a similar approach?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the problems that Argentina, a lot of the problems that have built up over the years and decades, even Argentina, we see similar problems manifesting in wealthier, more developed countries, Britain, the United States, even other wealthy, advanced economies, the G7 economies in particular. All of these countries, they've been running up huge debt to GDP. And it's at the point where it's becoming unsustainable. Argentina previously did this. Argentina was a comparatively very wealthy country about 100 years ago. Argentina was neck and neck with the United States. Like, where would you want to move to? Where would you want to set a business? And then Argentina then went a different direction in beginning mid-20th century. A lot of heavy-handedness in government, lots of spending, lots of regulation, very cronyistic. And it really descended into kind of a vicious cycle of high inflation, stagnation. Things got really bad over many, many years. And things got so bad, there's an argument to be had that things got so bad that people really had to turn to liberty and free markets again and really had to wake up because things had gotten so badly. I hope things don't have to get so bad in these other countries for that to be the case. I think Milei's policies are definitely taking Argentina in the right direction. And I think the United States and other developed economies also need to take seriously fiscal rectitude, having free markets, having low regulation, getting rid of bad regulations. It's really important to have fiscal discipline, be concerned about the future, saving, and not running huge deficits, not having bad regulation, excessive regulation.
Economist and Chief Operating Officer at Fiscal Lab on Capitol Hill, Patrick Horan, thank you so much for your time. It was great to speak with you.
Thank you very much.